All right, folks. Well, we're upon another weekend, and unfortunately, at least on Saturday, the weather does not look very good. It's 63 for the high. It's going to be blowing 10 to 20 out of the northwest, and so I can guarantee that Chad and I will not be fishing tomorrow. We fished today, and the afternoon has been a pretty good bite. We caught a lot of snook, so one redfish, one trout. We went out and tried to snapper and grouper fish, but it was rough. It got rough later in the afternoon, so we worked our way back inshore, and that's what we're doing now. And anyway, I stopped by my office just to grab some stuff, but I wanted to go ahead and get into the Friday fishing forecast and answer some of the questions that I've been getting. One of the main questions lately has been, people are asking, what are the major and minor feeding times? So when I go through the major minor feeding times today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain them a little bit to the best of my knowledge. There's, I think, a little bit more science to it, the way the gravitational pull of the moon, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into that stuff because that bores me, and I'll probably bore you guys. But anyway, so what I want to do is I want to go ahead and get into the Friday fishing forecast. Let's talk about the tides and the salooners, and we'll go from there. Now, I know for this weekend, on Saturday, we have an outgoing tide until 9:44 a.m., which is a negative 0.57. And then it's a high tide at 4:30 at a 1 foot. And then it goes out again until 8:49 at a 0.69 foot. So that outgoing tide in the morning is, like I said, it's one of my favorites. But the problem is that the water is so cold that these fish are pretty lethargic, especially the inshore fish. So the afternoon bite for us has been so much better than the morning bite, and I'll get into that a little bit more. Okay, for Sunday we have a negative low tide at 10:18 a.m. at a negative 0.38. Then we have a high tide at 4:59 at a 1.07. And then another outgoing tide until 10 p.m. at a 0.59. So what I was talking about on these tides, the negative tide in the morning, I usually love the negative tides, but the problem is that the water is so cold. Right now the water's 63, but it's warmed up. It was 59 this morning. So it's supposed to get cold again tonight, be cold again Saturday night. So the water temperature is down. So if you're going to fish inshore, I would highly recommend fishing in the afternoon. That's when your better bite's going to be. And a little bit of an explanation of why the bite's going to be better in the afternoon is I'll tell you when we get to the salooner periods. So let's go ahead and get into the salooner periods and see what we've got in store for this weekend. All right, on Saturday we have a minor feeding time from 9:33 a.m. to 10:33 a.m. And then we have a major feeding time from 2:46 to 4:46. Then on Sunday we have a minor feeding time from 10:06 to 11:06, and then we have our major feeding time from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. So when I was telling you about the major and the minors, that major in the afternoon is the one that was really good for us today. We've caught a bunch of snook, so it's a really good tide. And it's going to be a good salooner period in the afternoon because that water's going to have a chance to warm up a little bit, even though it's going to be colder this weekend. And so if you're going to probably inshore fish, I would probably recommend starting on that incoming tide and hit that major feeding time in the afternoon, because I think that's the best thing that you can do. Let me get into a little bit about what the major and minors are all about. First of all, the majors are when the moon is overhead of the earth or underneath the earth, and they typically last for about 2 hours. And then the minors is when the moon is rising and the moon is setting, and they typically last for an hour. So this is something that I did not pay attention to when I was before I was guiding. I just went out and fished, and I fished when I could, and that's what most people do, is they fish when they can. So that's what, I try to plan our trips around the salooner periods. And so the salooner periods, I have found, being a guide for 6 years, being on the water almost every day, I have found that it's actually about 95% accurate. And I'm watching Chad, just fight this fish.
Doesn't want to come out.
So so the salooners have become very important in my planning of the days of when I'm going fishing. So like today, I knew that we were going to hit a major during this time. We, as you saw earlier, we were killing the fish. Well, you won't see it until after this. But anyway, the fish were on fire. The fish are still on fire. He's catching fish. So anyway, so that's what the minor and major feeding times are all about. Is when the moon is rising, the moon is setting is the minor, and when the moon's overhead and underneath, it's the major. So when it's a full moon, that moon is overhead in the middle of the night. So that's why the full moon bite is typically really bad in the morning, because those fish are typically eating throughout the night on that full moon. So just remember that. Now, I'm going to be at the St. Pete Boat Show. Chad might be there tomorrow, probably starting at around 12 o'clock or so, maybe a little bit later than that. We unfortunately didn't have enough jigs to be able to go and hang out fully at the Sunray Marine booth. But if you're interested in a boat, stop by Sunray Marine booths at the St. Pete Boat Show this weekend. It's going on Saturday and Sunday. It's been going on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I'll be there tomorrow. So if you have nothing else to do, it's going to be kind of crappy on the water, cold, windy, stop by and see us. Shoot the breeze with us. We can talk about fishing or whatever you want to talk about. But anyway, I just want to say thanks again for all the support. We've got some new products coming out, possibly within about maybe this coming week or the following week. I'm just waiting on supplies to get in, but it's new to us. Some of the offshore guys have really been begging me to get these jigs, so I went ahead and did it. And they're 2 ounce to 6 ounce, and there'll be different colors. I'm bringing in some different colors. I have 2 different kinds of pinks. Two that I'm going to introduce. One that I've already introduced. The other one's going to be like a sparkling kind of pink, and then the other one's going to be like a neon pink. So anyway, again, I want to say thank you for all of the support. Thank you for all the people buying cast nets. As you saw, well, you're not going to see it because it's after this video, but we caught a ton of bait with our Talon cast net. I love that net. That net throws really nice, and it's for a cast net, it's relatively inexpensive compared to some of the other brands on the market, which there's nothing wrong with them. We just felt that we could supply a good product at a good price for everybody out there. And it's just our way of saying thank you for supporting us. Again, thank you. Fish more, catch more, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Catch more fish.
Oh, Lord. Come on, man. We were catching those sides earlier.